Attention shoppers! Tonight on the checkout, Craig pays the price of convenience. Kirsten asks why serving sizes are so self-serving. And water-resistant watches face the judgment of the gods.
I can buy this same drink for $3, $3.50, $3.95 and $4.60. And they're all the same block. So why do we pay such different prices for the same product? Convenience. Excuse me, sir, do you have any convenience for sale? No. That's misleading advertising. There's big money in making products more convenient.
Eureka! I put convenience into rice!
It's a clock.
It's actually a visual representation of time saving because I couldn't think of a better way to represent the saving of time that wouldn't in itself take too long.
This all-new convenient microwavable rice is just 4 times more expensive than standard rice. You're paying that money to have it ready in 90 seconds rather than 25 minutes.
Hurry up, old man!
What's your rush, Sally? When I was a boy, we were taught to have patience and wait for our minute. And that was my 7th cat.
And it's amazing how convenient we want things to be. You would have thought that quick oats, ready in 2 minutes, would be quick enough.
Too quick, if you ask me. When I was a lad, it took about 3 hours to cook a pot of porridge. That's how I got my hat.
What, I have to pour honey on myself?
Whereas for nearly twice as much,
Porridge comes in a sachet?
you can cut out the complex task of measuring a cup of oats.
Yeah, and it already comes with honey in it. I can't put that in myself.
Convenient.
Giddy up. I wasn't going to say anything else.
And it's not just porridge. We seem to really hate measuring things out.
I can't use this. How am I meant to pour this powder into this lid?
When for just 3 times the price...
Same washing powder comes in tablets.
Well, don't you have to take it out of the wrapper?
Duh. The wrapper's dissolvable. I don't have time to unwrap things.
When it comes to stock, your choices are overwhelming. You can boil your own water and add in your own stock.
Oh, I am so sick of all this spoon lifting.
Whereas for just 2.5 times the price, you can break in a pre-measured cube into the water.
It's hurting my fingers.
But for just 8 times the cost, you can get a concentrated liquid to pour in with water.
Why do I have to deal with 2 liquids? It's so splashy.
And for just 15 times the price, you can get a pre-made stock.
Better.
So let's take stock of the situation. The thing is, paying more for convenience isn't necessarily a bad idea. It just depends on the product and your situation.
Yeah.
I told you the clock is simply meant to be a visual representation of time saving because I...
If your boss offered you an extra $10 to stay at work for an hour, you'd probably tell him to get stuffed. But you might walk from shop to shop comparing prices for an hour and only save yourself $10. While others surf the web for hours looking for a bargain. This could be a massive waste of your time unless you've got nothing better to do. Although, I guess it's not a waste of time if you're doing it at work. Right. Sorry, Mark. I guess lucky no one's looking at the overseas productivity, hey? Psychologist Dan Ariely goes even further. He argues that we're irrational when it comes to how we spend our time and money.
If you were looking at a car stereo costing $100, you would be very likely to drive across town for one that costs only $80.
How did he know I was going to do that?
But if you're going to buy a car for $30,000, you will be very, very unlikely to drive across town or even a smaller distance for a discount of $20.
Of course I wouldn't. I'm not an idiot.
The point is your wallet doesn't know where the $20 comes from. It could come from saving $20 on a stereo. It could come from $20 saving on an expensive car. $20 are $20. But in one case you would drive to get it, and in another case you wouldn't.
Well, what I mean is that...
Humans are essentially irrational. Some may call them irrational idiots.
Hey, this is my segment. So paying less isn't always best. Although, if you are going to pay more...
This is how you measure out a cup.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Make sure that the extra cost is worth the time and effort that you're saving. Because you're the one paying for the price of convenience. I don't have a car.
Irrational idiot.
Woolworths Home Essentials espresso glasses. A perfect match for hot or cold beverages.
Ooh, I can use them when distinguished guests drop in. Hot beverage, Your Majesty?
One's face!
Oh my God!
Not suitable for use with hot beverages. Woolworths espresso glasses. A perfect match for cold hot beverages.
Hurry! Limited stock! Buy now!
Why? What's the rush?
Was $475, now $475. 0% off!
I'm on my way!
They're nuts.
Customers, please note, all products sold by Nut Shack may contain traces of nuts.
They're nutsier.
All flourless and nut-free products may contain traces of flour and nuts?
Miracle product.
Floats on water!
Just like Jesus!
Maybe not all the time.
Crazy giveaways.
Choose a subscription. $59.95 for 6 issues or $64.95 for 6 issues. Plus, receive a free gift.
Doesn't that free gift cost $5?
Plus, receive a free gift.
No, don't you get it? The same thing costs $5 more.
Plus, receive a free gift. We'll be back soon. Plus, receive a free gift.
As a guilty mum, I know the natural discomfort of teething should be solved by a natural remedy like Brower Homeopathic Teething Drops. Since it's basically water, it's so mild you can use it from birth up to 9 times a day. Which means she'll be homeopathically cured by the time she actually starts teething in 6 months. And when I want a remedy with an active ingredient, I turn to Bonjela. It's got choline salicylate, which is so active that in the UK, even Bonjela have warned children under 16 years of age not to use it. But don't worry, that warning's just for British children. And it can't be that bad. The Medical Journal of Australia says there's little evidence it relieves teething discomfort anyway. Teething toys are anything but child's play, which is why I demand German medical-grade silicone from Mayapple, Siri and friends. Sure, they're 4 times more expensive than a regular teething toy, but you have to pay extra for delicious translucents. That's what babies want. Unless, of course, they want the Pigeon Teething Trainer. It promotes natural jaw development, which wouldn't happen naturally. And as a guilty mum, I'm not taking any chances that my baby won't develop a jaw. It even encourages baby to close her lips. See? It's a miracle. I don't have to sacrifice style during my baby's teething days. Not with this $230 sterling silver teething necklace from Mama's Jewels. No, use the teething necklace I bought you. That's better. But there really is no substitute for the wisdom of experts like Miranda and Giselle, which is why I use these amber teething beads. Amber's powers were discovered by the ancient Greeks well before scientific testing. I just can't take my eyes off my baby when she's wearing amber, which is good, because they say that I shouldn't. Even the ACCC's talking about amber. Well, if it's a choking hazard good enough for Miranda Kerr, it's good enough for me.
universe is a bounty of mysteries. Who let the dogs out? Why is a mouse when it spins? And what is a serving size?
The answer is nobody knows. And how could we when the numbers food manufacturers put on labels are so darn nebulous? Depending on how it's packaged, there are 5 different serving sizes of John West tuna and olive oil, ranging from 64 grams to 83 grams. This is 1 serve of Goulburn Valley diced fruit salad, and so is this, depending on which package you buy. And this is 1 serve of Valia French vanilla yogurt, and this is 1 serve, and so is this. Well, I guess that helps explain their ads.
Valia gives me the added vitality I need for everything I do.
Or as Valia themselves put it,
there is actually no standard in relation to serving sizes, and what amount constitutes a serving size is at the discretion of each company.
Now, if you're the sort of person who relies on these daily intake guide figures when you go shopping, then this is a major flaw in the system because these numbers are based on the serving size of a product. So, this tub here could seem healthier than this tub just because its serving size is smaller. And by setting their serving size at 30 grams, Cocoa Pops can keep their nutrition numbers looking like this, even though most people would pour themselves a bowl of crunchy chocolate milkshake more like this, closer to 2 serves, which does this to their daily intake guide numbers. Some people get a little cynical about this situation, suggesting
these serving sizes are being manipulated to mislead consumers.
That is just a myth, according to the food industry's lobby group, the Food and Grocery Council, who championed the system. And to prove it, they cited this example.
The beverage industry has agreed that product up to and including 600 mils should be designated single serves, and that above that size, a single serve shall be 250 mils.
So, if I want a single serve of Coke, I get this much from this bottle, or this much from this bottle. Does that clear things up?
Huh? Damn, these guys are good.
Hey, Australian Food and Grocery Council, have your people call our people.
Now, the Food and Grocery Council would say that the reason this bottle of Coke is only 1 serve is because for a bottle that size, you'd expect someone to drink the whole thing. Fair enough. And yet, this Campbell's Go soup in a convenient microwavable pouch, which can't be reheated or resealed, contains 2 serves. Are they seriously expecting this to feed 2 people? Not while I'm around. And this man-sized, chunky, fully loaded Pub Greats lamb curry, guaranteed to satisfy a man-sized hunger like no soup ever before.
Fully loaded man's got balls of meat. Time to slam a fully loaded can, a fully crammed dinner feast.
It actually contains 2 serves per can, which, oddly enough, are exactly the same size as the sissy version.
Campbell's Country Ladle, with delicious farm-picked vegetables.
But there's more. According to the Food and Grocery Council, single-serve items should be appropriately sized for the target market. So why does this man-sized bag of Smith's Max chips contain 3.7 servings per package? Is it 3.7 man size?
Hey!
Oh, and if serving portions should be realistic, why is it that there are 8 servings per pizza at Domino's?
Because there are 8 slices in a pizza?
Finally something that makes sense.
Yeah, but Domino's also say that a person normally eats half a pizza. Now that's a realistic assessment, but it doesn't do great things for their nutritional numbers. So calling 1 slice a serve works out well for Domino's, but not so well for you.
Oi!
No wonder.
At Domino's, we're always hungry.
And finally, the Food and Grocery Council say that the single serve in a multi-pack should bear some relation to the single serving size of a single serve pack, which is strange because both of Thin's single serves are different sizes, and both of them are different from the serving size of the bigger packet. Well, according to M&M's, there are 2 funs to a party, and the only thing more fun than a party is sitting alone eating a whole pack of M&M's.
What?
She's right, you know.
We're not saying this is a giant conspiracy, or even a fun-sized conspiracy. It's just that serving sizes are complicated and confusing, and that can make it harder to keep track of your actual consumption. If you do want to know what you should be consuming, a good place to start are the Australian Dietary Guidelines, although they can be a little bit depressing.
Australian Dietary Guidelines serve, madam?
That's why I don't go to the Australian Dietary Guidelines Christmas party. But if you want to eat healthy, they're the serves for you. The serving sizes the food companies choose, well, they should be taken with a serve of salt.
What?
That fish is hilarious. Hello there, I'm Poseidon, king of the sea, here with an important message about water and watches. You know, if there are two things I love, it's swimming and knowing what the time is, which is why I wear this handsome diving watch. But not all watches are safe to get wet, and it can be confusing telling which watch is which watch. For example, take a look at Craig's Fancy Man watch. It's rated to 30 metres water resistant. Now, what do you think that means, Craig?
You can go 30 metres under the water.
Well, let's see. Jesus! Wrong religion! Now, Craig, do you have the time?
My watch is broken.
Well, of course it is. You see, a 30-metre water-resistant watch isn't designed to go 30 metres under the water. Bye! We asked our friends at Swatch to clear up this confusion for us, and they let us know that when a watch has a water-resistant rating on it, then...
These indications do not correspond to an actual diving depth, but refer to the pressure to which the overpressure water test has been done.
By which they mean to say that Craig's watch was tested sitting perfectly still in a lab under pressures you'd find 30 metres under the water. In this case, 3 atmospheres, or ATMs. And I don't need to tell you that there's a huge difference between sitting here perfectly still, brand new in a lab, and splashing about in the briny deep.
Hello?
So, if like Craig here, you have a new watch that's just water resistant, well, what kind of adventures can you go on? Let's consult this handy chart from Casio. If your watch is water resistant, then you can splash your face. Stand in the rain. Or maybe read a book.
Hang on, what's that?
While being hit with water bombs. But look, if you want to splash around a really fun water park with your friends, then you'll need a watch that's 50 metres water resistant or higher. Which is why Craig can't come with us today. Oh, and by the way, Craig, I forgot to tell you, you can't use detergent in that sink.
Oh, bloody Poseidon!
But if you want to do any serious diving, make sure you get a proper diver's watch. And always ask the retailer exactly what the guarantee is good for. That way, you'll avoid any nasty surprises. Ah! Ah! You're wet.
I'm Dr. Ken Harvey, public health physician and consumer advocate. If I could say one thing, it would be don't trust the claims made by many companies who sell complementary medicines. Australia has a two-tiered system to regulate therapeutic drugs. Higher-risk medicines, mostly prescribed by a doctor, are registered, while lower-risk ones, including most complementary medicines, are listed with the Therapeutic Goods Administration. But the TGA listing system is flawed. It's trust-based, and there's no assessment of a product's effectiveness before it goes to market. Some complementary medicines are even sold without going through the TGA system at all. They lack this AUSTL number. In others, the content shown on the bottle can be different to what the TGA was told at the time of listing. These listed medicines probably won't kill you, but more often than not, there's no proof they'll help you either. Aggressive marketing using hype and celebrities is the reason why so many consumers buy these products, despite the lack of scientific evidence. But most Australians have no need for multivitamins and other complementary medicines. Instead, buy nutritious foods.
Statistically, the average time taken to drive to work in New South Wales is 34 minutes. The average New South Wales family spends 2.3 hours driving the kids to and from sport every week, and 85.4% of all their trips are essential, which is why we automatically provide...
Not all statistics are factual.
GIO, it's a trust thing.
At FUtube, we receive so many messages about airlines and poor service that we've got our own Mile High Club. Just not a very fun one. First up is Anna, who was going to book a Singapore Airlines flight through Webjet because the ticket seemed cheaper than on the airline's site.
It was important to me to know whether the fare rules allowed date changes to be made, but I couldn't find any specific information about the ticket's terms and conditions on the Webjet site.
Seems like a reasonable concern because
you never know what's going to happen in life.
That's the case for everyone, but as Anna knows,
especially when you've got kids.
So Anna started a live online chat session with Webjet customer service, and they told her,
"We can only say the exact routes once booked."
It might not have sounded exactly like that, probably more like this. To which Anna replied,
"You mean I have to pay for the flight before I know the fare rules?"
And Webjet said,
"My apologies, as we can't provide it upon booking, only afterwards."
It might not have looked exactly like that, probably more like this. Anna didn't proceed with the booking, and maybe that's a good thing. Webjet's terms and conditions say Webjet reserves the right to charge amendment or cancellation fees. Team Anna reckons,
no fair, Webjet!
We asked Webjet about Anna's FU. They say they have a robust display of fare rules for domestic and New Zealand flights, which is 90% of their business. But for international bookings, fares and conditions are more complicated, and the information Webjet gets is hard to distill.
And our online support team doesn't work in spas.
Webjet says fishing out that info for each international fare isn't practical, so they give a generic summary on their site, with agents trained to provide more specific information if asked for it. To their credit, in Anna's case, they acknowledge a
failing of our customer service.
They say they'll train support staff better on how to access that info if customers ask for it. But if you're booking international flights on Webjet, take extra care. And remember, Webjet's rule, or the airlines, can't override your consumer law rights. Isn't that right? Next up is a complaint from a lady who had some trouble flying to Bali, but she doesn't want to be acknowledged. She says for flights to Bali, Jetstar heavily promotes fares like
$199,
but aren't so clear about conditions like
check baggage not included.
She asks,
how is this not drip pricing?
What's drip pricing again? Well, when the head of the ACCC was asked that recently, he said,
drip pricing involves the incremental disclosure of fees and charges over an online booking process.
So you're on the right track, ship anonymous person. Let's say you buy a flight to Bali only to find that it'll cost between $80 and $180 to take a bag with you. Then that might be a concern. But even if you are the kind of person who carries less than 10 kilograms of luggage with you when you go overseas, you could still get stung if that airline charged $5 per person to guarantee that you could sit next to the people you booked your flight with. And then again, if that airline charged booking fees of $8.50 to $12.50 per passenger per fare for simply using a normal credit card to pay. So we've asked the ACCC, given your concerns about drip pricing, when are you closing down Jetstar? Look, this is the business model of all discount airlines, not just Jetstar. They offer you discount rates for your seat and then charge you for everything else. It's just what they do. Complaining about this is like,
hello, deadly snakes are us? I'd like to complain.
So, the next time you see an amazing Jetstar promotion, remember the one thing their ads are spot on about.
At Jetstar, low fares are just part of the story.
Our next high-altitude FU came from Emma Louise to Virgin.
On my flight from LA to Brisbane, they lost one of my suitcases.
Well, hey, at least they let you take one.
Not the suitcase full of all the souvenirs I bought for my friends and family.
Thank God for that.
But they did lose the suitcase that had all my clothes in it.
Not all your clothes.
I'm asking for just $800 to replace all of the clothes I lost, which was coincidentally all of my winter clothes.
Well, you could probably get a decent fur coat or two out of that giant bear on the bed behind you. Look, most of us understand there are occasionally mishaps with luggage, and that can be annoying. But it took an awfully long time for Virgin to compensate Emma.
I submitted my claim at the start of the year, and I've been waiting, and I've been calling and emailing.
And hoping and thinking and praying.
In any case, a few days ago, Virgin finally did offer Emma some money. Possibly because they could see her grassroots social media campaign was turning public opinion against them. Unfortunately, they also made her sign a confidentiality agreement as part of the settlement, so she can't say how it was resolved. What we can tell you is that most airlines give compensation if they lose your luggage. It's outlined in the conditions of carriage. And remember, they all say you have to make a claim in writing within 3 to 7 days. Too bad consumers can't impose the same timeframes on getting their claims processed. Hey, Emma. And that's it for our FUTube Airlines special. Apart from AirAsia forcing you to pay for more expensive seats when you change your flight times, Ryanair charging $125 if you don't bring your boarding pass with you, Jetstar requiring you to be sick for over 6 months to refund a ticket on medical grounds, Tiger Air charging one group of 5 over $1,400 for excess baggage, and Tiger Air charging someone else $239 worth of fees for a $6 ticket. Not to mention the changes to the Qantas Frequent Flyer program.
Thank you, Qantas. I feel ripped off.
So, be careful out there. Good night.